I think something that people really value in a good game is its ability to teach you its mechanics through gameplay instead of just jamming a tutorial down your throat. Mario Power Tennis strikes a nearly perfect balance between being overly simple and so complex that you need oodles of tutorials.
Mega Man, there's a hole in the zip line that you. No, shut up! I don't need you.
Is the developer of both Mario Power Tennis and Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. The fact that the sport is tennis this time instead of golf also lends itself to more simplicity than something like Mario Golf Toadstool Tour just naturally. Several comments on my video about Mario Golf pointed out that most of my commentary on calling the game complex was just the nature of most golf games. Sure, I agree that golf is a complex sport with a lot of variables, but they could have made an overly simple version of that game for the intended audience of Mario Golf, which was me when I was 6 years old. Tennis, however, is just a much more simple sport. That being said, the complexities of things like lobs and drop shots, and the power shots, give the player just enough tools to make a deep strategy to be able to adjust to their opponents. With that, we're going to do a deep dive on how Mario Power Tennis is the ideal GameCube game. In typical fashion, we start with an entertaining introduction. Mario and Luigi absolutely smoke Wario and Waluigi in a doubles match. Afterwards, the two villains are angry and they get chased by the AI police for committing real acts of vandalism. There's a whole bunch of hilarious antics that ensue afterwards, and I gotta say, this is an incredibly long intro for a game about hitting a ball back and forth. It's over 5 minutes long. I forgot about most of the later parts of the intro because I honestly have no idea how many times I truly watched it all the way through. It's damn long, but it also represents a lot of the above and beyond efforts that were put into Mario Power Tennis. Gave a lot of love to Wario and Waluigi in both Mario Golf and Mario Tennis on the GameCube. I feel like they knew that Waluigi was truly always going to be a side game character, and they wanted to give him his moment in the spotlight. After all, the first game with Waluigi in any capacity was Mario Tennis on the N64. Now that we have made the jump to the GameCube, and Nintendo finally started using discs, sort of, longer cinematic intros were now possible. Mario Power Tennis and Mario Golf Toadstool Tour take full advantage and have some hilarious and memorable intros. And of course, if you don't care and you just want to play the game, you can just skip it. So let's play some damn tennis finally. The game eases us very, very gently into learning the sport. You can pick singles or doubles, and you can pick a more traditional tournament or the gimmick tournament. The game wants you to start on the basic Mushroom Cup, and my goodness, it's so outrageously easy. You can take down your first couple of opponents with nearly zero effort and quickly climb the ranks. Despite this tournament being played on traditional courts, they still give it some Mario aesthetic. When you win, you go up this fun little bracket that's made of pipes. You know, because Mario goes in pipes. As you continue forward into Flower and Star Cup, the game starts to gradually get harder. However, if there's one thing I'd criticize it for, it's that the jump from Flower to Star Cup is pretty big. I can get through both Mushroom and Flower without getting scored on by almost any opponent at any time, but then Star Cup cranks it up quite a bit. I still won though, of course. What do you think I am? Some kind of weenie or something? Once you win the initial circuit, then you get the Star Tournament, just like how Mario Golf had as well. This time though, I'm much more interested in the Star Tournament, because I do crave some additional difficulty. This is where you can really put your skills to the test, and it's honestly where Mario Power Tennis shines brightest, at least in its single player. You have to start developing actual strategies around your opponents. For example, I could absolutely demolish Bowser Jr. by returning a serve with a drop shot and then immediately launching a lob over his head next. But then when I tried to do the same thing in Planet Cup Championship against DK, it stopped working because he's such a large character. My final match against Donkey Kong was intense, and it's truly everything you'd want out of a challenging tennis match. He took the first set, and we ended up going all 5 sets, with every single one being a close battle. Eventually I was able to take him down and secure the victory. Before we delve into other modes, one thing I want to mention is how broken some of the power moves are, particularly Koopa Troopa. There's a reason why he's my pick in the tournament that you're seeing. His power shot is this ridiculous bubbly drop shot that falls so hard, bounces twice quickly, and if your opponent does manage to hit it, they get stuck in a puddle, and they usually just end up hitting it right into the net anyway. It trips up even the strongest opponents in the game, and I find it so much more useful than others. For my footage here, I tried to mix it up with characters like Yoshi, Waluigi, and Wiggler, none of which have quite a ridiculous power shot like Koopa Troopa. All of that matters a little bit less though when there are more players on the field, which brings us to multiplayer. If you guys have friends, I would recommend giving doubles a shot as well. You can choose to play with your second player, or you can go against them, if you're a damn sadist, I guess. Overall, doubles tennis is super chaotic, and I enjoy the additional space created by making the alleys part of the inbounds. Yes, you can also choose to play doubles alone, and I did a little bit of that myself for this video. Doubles on your own is a bit of an experience though, because you get stuck with your own computer teammate. On Mushroom Cup, you can tell that your companion is just as dumb as the opponents, and my goodness, they really do hold you back. As you climb the ranks, it's okay, but I still would much rather have another human by my side. In preparation for the video, I didn't play a ton of doubles outside of getting footage for it, since it's a huge downgrade compared to singles. Call me a control freak, but I'd rather be making every play. However, I will mention that the one time I got into a tiebreaker scenario was actually in doubles, and man, what a sweat fest. Tiebreakers happen when you both get to 2 games in a single set without somebody winning the first 2 outright. So you either win a set 2-0, 3-1, or 3-2 in a tiebreak. In real tennis, you stop counting by 15 in tiebreakers and start counting like a normal human being, by ones. Mario Power Tennis honors the sport and has first to 7 tiebreakers that get extremely tense. The music changes and everything, and if you aren't locked the hell in by now, then maybe this game just isn't for you. However, if you want more truly solo action, then you're in luck, because there's the gimmick tournaments. The gimmick courts can be hit or miss for me. A number of them rely on the mechanic of, there's something that impedes your movement on the court, and you need to hit the ball in a specific spot to get rid of it or change it. However, others feel a little more creative. For example, I'm a huge fan of the blooper court. Depending on where you hit the ball, the court shifts. These arrows will make the inbounds area grow or shrink, and it's just pretty damn brilliant overall. The mechanic totally changes your perspective on how you play the game, and mistakes all feel like they are your fault. Why'd you hit the ball out of bounds? Well, because you hit it in the exact same location twice in a row, which isn't really allowed here. Others are total garbage though, like the Wario Factory. You're on these treadmills, and as you volley across the net, you hit these arrows which change the directions of the treadmills. Man, even the damn computer players can't handle this course. They end up getting geeked out by the treadmill, and it allows you to sneak a free service ace past them when they can't return it. That's not fun, it's just an exploit for free wins. But of course I'm gonna do it. The Delfino Plaza Court, Mario Brothers Court, DK Jungle, and Luigi's Mansion all focus so heavily on just slowing the player down or impeding their movement in some way, shape, or form. After a while, it just gets annoying, and I'd rather be playing on the standard court. Hell, grass makes it hard enough with the low bounces anyway. The Bowser Court is okay. It's better than like the Wario Factory because all the movement changes are more unified. Still, nothing comes close to the creativity of the Blooper Court for me. And once you get bored of tournament play in all facets, there's more side games to be played. Again, it's hit or miss. Some of these are way better than others, but the good ones are really fun. Terra Tennis is way better than something like Artists on the Court, for example, though the premise is nearly identical. You have to precisely lob each shot to hit the appropriate target, and Artists on the Court can feel immensely frustrating doing this with hitting very little specific targets with a certain colored ball. Even once you know the tricks of how to play it, it's still pretty annoying. Tic Tac Glow is a really fun one. You have to make 3 in a row and uncover the shine sprites to get points, and it requires you to be a master of the drop shot and the lob. Beating this one on the highest difficulty took me a few tries, but it was incredibly satisfying to beat, and when I failed I knew I just had to get a little bit better each time, and then I was going to complete it. Gooper Volley is the worst special game of the entire bunch. All you have to do is volley the ball. The first challenge of 20 isn't so bad, but then, my goodness, 50 is ridiculous, and this is only the second challenge. There's one more after this. Having to go all the way back every time you fail is just so time consuming. I gave up on this pretty quickly. However, I find it ironic that this is my favorite gimmick court, but my least favorite of the special games. Mecha Bowser Mayhem is decently fun. You basically have a third-person shooter here with this boss fight. It's a little wonky. His fire travels so far onto the stage I end up taking an absolute licking every time, but I mean, it's my fault, whatever. I'm out of practice. If I gave this a little more time, I'd probably end up enjoying it. Chain Chomp Challenge is absolutely brilliant and chaotic. You make your Chain Chomp mad by hitting him with a bomb. Now all your regular shots give 2 points instead of 1. However, if your opponents hit the Chomp with another bomb, then it overheats, breaks out, and you lose time dousing the flames. It also goes the other way. You cool off the Chomp with a water ball. However, cool him down too much, and he falls asleep and you can't get any points, and you have to hit him with a bomb to wake him back up. You can shoot any shot into your opponent's lanes too, allowing you to overheat their Chain Chomps. There's so much multitasking and splitting your focus here. It's pure chaos and it's so engaging. This is a phenomenal side game. Balloon Panic. Boring! Next! Coin Collectors is decent. Again, it requires you to split your focus like the Chain Chomp Challenge. It's not quite as fun, but there's some joy in watching these insane amounts of coins fly around the stage. The issue is that you're so focused on all the coins, it is really easy to get accidentally hit and then lose time. However, I was able to finish all 3 levels of it with relative ease. That's just about it, but there's still a few extras that we are yet to cover. In the exhibition mode, you can choose to play a simple round of normal tennis, but you can also mix it up with the ring shot and item battle modes. The ring shot is pretty boring, honestly. You get more points for just getting the ball through smaller rings. They get bigger each time the ball is hit, and if you lose the volley, you only get half your points. The scoring keeps it interesting in a way, but I'm not particularly pressed to keep playing it. Item battle is super busy, and honestly, I wish I had more experience with this mode, or that it wasn't so off to the side. There isn't really any time in tournament or anything that item battle becomes a thing. It's like purely a side mode in exhibition. Had it been integrated into a tournament style, this would have been awesome. Doubles with this mode on a high stakes environment would be crazy. Your best bet for that is playing doubles and putting the difficulty on Ace. It's a neat little crossover between Mario Tennis and Mario Kart, but again, my own actual experiences with it are very limited compared to the rest of the game. Even as a kid, I didn't play this all that much. Overall, what really makes Mario Power Tennis the ideal GameCube game boils down to its simplicity, yet extreme depth compared to its predecessors. The GameCube featured a lot of upgrades from titles on the N64. For example, we got sequels to games like Wave Race, 1080 Snowboarding, Mario Golf, and of course Mario Tennis. Mario Power Tennis gives us so much more than any of the previous attempts at a Mario Tennis game, but it keeps things simplistic, enjoyable, and addictive. I would say this is an absolutely essential game for anybody interested in playing the GameCube at all. The game also does not take itself too seriously. They were not afraid to branch out and make all those silly little courses with goofy side modes where we experiment with the mere premise of tennis. Think about it, is the coin collecting minigame anything like the actual sport of tennis? Last I recall, no, none of this ever happens in real life, but that's why it's a damn video game, and particularly why it's a Mario Tennis game. They could have just made a basic and boring tennis game with little innovation or extras put into it. But instead they went above and beyond and put all this extra fun stuff to keep you engaged. Speaking of all these extras, would you believe that the soundtrack for this game is over 3 hours long? That's because there are a ton of little variations in each song for the courts. Everything getting its own song for game point and tiebreakers just shows how much effort went into the soundtrack. You might only hear the game point song for a couple seconds if you quickly secure the win, but hey, it's a high stakes moment, so you have to hear the different song. Outside of the soundtrack as well, this game has some iconic visuals and voice clips. Bowser Jr.'s rage when getting scored on will always be so funny to me. Also, Wario and Waluigi have some pretty hilarious animations for their power shots. And again, it just goes back to that love that the developers put into it. I also want to mention that this game, of course, has an immense amount of aesthetics borrowed from Mario Sunshine. And I absolutely love it, given that Mario Sunshine is my favorite game of all time. And just how perfect. Playing tennis on your island vacation, that's completely realistic. I don't know about you, but I love rallying with a giant squid every time I go to the beach. Price-wise, for a physical copy these days, I mean, for GameCube standards, it's still certainly pretty low. However, it was also re-released on the Wii, and that version is even cheaper. I never got the Wii version because, well, I held on to the same physical copy for over 20 years on the GameCube, so I'm good, and have always been good. Whatever works for you though, go right ahead. If physical media is an absolute must for you and you don't want to emulate it, Mario Power Tennis would be a really solid game to add to your GameCube lineup. It's amazing how far this series had come at this point. I mean, the first Mario Tennis game was on the Virtual Boy, which was a very, very humble start. The N64 version is good. So good, in fact, I didn't feel like playing it for this video. However, the jump from humble beginnings to Mario Power Tennis was huge. I always associate this game with Mario Golf Toadstool Tour because they were both made by Camelot, and both games had some huge impacts on my very early childhood gaming memories. I mean, don't forget, Toadstool Tour was the first game I ever owned, and then Mario Power Tennis followed not long after. This is a bit of a sidebar, but I decided to look up Camelot to see what else they've done. Though they don't have a massively deep repertoire of games or anything, they've got some heavy hitters like the Shining Force games, numerous Mario sports titles, and even Golden Sun. So they've bounced between some RPGs and some sports titles mostly. Yeah, no wonder why I like them. Since this game was released, I've never felt inclined to buy another tennis game, regardless of if it featured an Italian plumber or not. I'm sure some of them are worth it, but it speaks leagues that this game has kept me entertained for over 20 years. And that is why Mario Power Tennis is the ideal GameCube game. See you next time.